No matter what side of the political spectrum you are on, I hope that you, like me, support free speech. So my first tweet here, whenever I'm discussing free speech with someone who says, follow the TOS, it's that simple, I have to respond. People do. And they get banned selectively for wrongthink, while other accounts remain untouched. So this was back in October, but this is an evil that's as old as time. The evil that is censorship. I call it at times a modern religion, of which I am agnostic, but of course you can see my bias already and how I framed it and primed you with evil. Because frankly, you know, censorship is very seldom used for good. Okay? They sell it as something being used for good, and there are some forms of speech that should be removed from the public square, like credible threats and inciting violence and other things. We know, we accept that. But in general, free speech and what is allowed to be said, the authority, someone takes authority and makes an arbitrary decision, and one way they're selling it is with the term hate speech. Now, of course, hate speech doesn't really have a meaning, and on top of that, one of the best free speech laws in the world is the First Amendment, and it doesn't include any verbiage or any definition for hate speech. So hate speech is an easy way for somebody to point at something and arbitrarily choose whether or not it is hateful. And really, you could use many different interpretations for what hate actually is. And with that sort of amorphous definition intact, the social media companies, who are operating both as a platform and a publisher, are able to basically say, hey, it's in our TOS, you violated the hateful language outline, the offensive language outline or guideline. But if you don't know what you did wrong, if there's no transparency, well, how are you going to improve? How can you get some sort of redemption? You know? And then, of course, people are being selectively banned for wrongthink. Now, wrongthink is ideology. It's not hate speech, per se. It's ideology. But when you're in the modern religion of censorship, ideology and reality, well, faith and reason, they mix. And so you're dealing with a situation where you don't know, you're making arbitrary moral choices. Now, if you're a priest, I should say a prophet, or even the pope of a given modern religion, of course you are the authority figure that helps lead disciples into creating martyrs, people that don't follow that modern religion and don't believe in its dogma. So, of course, with censorship, people that support free speech are martyrs. They are fighting for the rights of all human beings, the human right to speak and, you know, not be limited by another human being, another entity that's stopping you from speaking. It's a basic right. And of course, the free speech advocates say, you know, you're allowed to say that. Now, of course, there are exceptions: libel, slander, defamation, illegal pornography, credible threats, incitement to violence, and other things, doxing, for one, where free speech absolutists like myself, I'm not literally, but I'm figuratively almost an absolutist in free speech. But even I know, hey, you know, you can't go ahead and have these dangerous, truly dangerous, direct harm situations allowed in the public square. Okay. But of course, these social media companies, they don't look at behavior. They're not looking at behavior. That's, my assessment. It's not the objective truth, but it is observable. You can go out there and take a look at their behavior, look at the stats, and you can see that the people on one side of the political spectrum are being banned more than the other side. Okay? It doesn't matter what they're saying. You can say whatever you want. There are people that have said truly atrocious things, even bannable words on Twitter, and they haven't been banned or suspended for 12 or 24, 36 hours for the same things that I've seen other people suspended for. Same word. Okay? And of course, in the case of Twitter, you also have the TOS being virtually meaningless. Literally, it says you can have a parody account, but you have to put the word parody in your Twitter profile. Pretty simple, right? So there is a Twitter LARPer, a comedy satire account named AOC Press, at AOC Press. And their tweets were supposed to be lampooning Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democratic congresswoman, who's very popular and very persuasive and has some actual good ideas, although I don't agree with her on every topic. Okay? But this account was parodying her, just like there are many accounts that parody President Trump, another persuasive figure that's in the public square. So what Twitter did was they banned this account for reasons that they would not explain. And that's the problem. When there's no transparency, it might as well be, it can be, in the head of the person observing, you're like, well, what happened? They won't tell me. Okay? So there's only really two options here. At first, there's either it was computer or it was human that made the decision. And if it was computer, well, was it an auto flag? Was it an accident? Was it somebody brigading with a group, putting up a lot of reports at the same time, complaints, ratioing by putting a lot of comments in without a lot of likes or retweets? What caused this account or this tweet to be removed? Hey, Twitter. If it's in the TOS that you can have a parody account, it shouldn't be limited to only crappy parody accounts. Okay, I guess they were thinking that people might have been confused by AOC Press because they were so close in their satire to AOC's actual words and actions. So it was a little bit too close to the truth for them to, I guess, allow on the platform. They were too effective at their satire. Now that's the explanation I come to independently, because we don't have transparency. We don't have the reason. If we don't have a reason, it could be the algorithm, it could be something automatic, or it could be human. They're virtually indistinguishable. So it's very important to have transparency. Follow the TOS, but remember, when they use sort of amorphous or very highly interpretable language, things that need to be arbitrated on, it becomes clear that we do need an arbitration process, like Minds has right now, that involves users themselves. Does this look okay? Should this be removed? Call it a social media court and let the jury decide. That's one of many possible solutions to fight this influx of censorship that has ravaged Western culture lately. Canada, United States, the entire EU, especially with Article 13 and all this, everything that comes from that. I say we need an Internet Bill of Rights. I think the people should have the right. Don't make it like China. No social credit system. No reduction in liberty based on saying something privately. There needs to be privacy. we have a Fourth Amendment, and we have a First Amendment, but we do need to enact an Internet Bill of Rights so that the physical freedoms we do feel, or so we think, we're supposed to feel as American citizens, are actually felt in our digital selves as well, as cheesy as that might sound. So, oh yeah, and don't have wrong think. Don't have the wrong ideology. If you're on the right wing and you're looking at a site that's largely a left-wing echo chamber, don't have right-wing thoughts. Don't say right-wing things. If you're on the left wing and you're in a right-wing echo chamber, don't think the wrong thing, guys. It's not, you don't want to think the wrong thing. Okay? So that's why I say stay out of the echo chambers. But when the entire platform becomes an echo chamber where certain ideology is removed and it's not absolutely clear, it's just clear once, it's not clear like they don't say, we removed them because they were conservative. We removed them because they were progressive. They remove anybody that gets away from their desired, preferred narrative. Okay? If people are telling the truth and stirring shit in the corporate macro simulation, and customers are, they're losing customers and they're losing mind share, and they can't control the vote, and they can't interfere in the election anymore by using the algorithm, which could be human decision, but they call it the algorithm, or it could be the algorithm and they call it the algorithm. I mean, we need to hold everybody accountable. So some people might say, oh, it's a private company, private company, and they can do what they want. Well, no. They provide a public utility by holding the president's account, holding municipal accounts, holding police department accounts, holding all kinds of state and local level accounts on a public level, on a public domain. So people need access to the site, which they do get. But then, of course, they also use that's their platform privilege. Okay? They don't have the liability of a publisher when people post things that are against the law. May it be publicly on Twitter or Facebook or in private messages, which is where you find a lot of the CP and other illegal pornography. So, we have to stay on top of it. Free speech is at stake. And there are some movements in the direction of free speech. SMACA is a move in the right direction. That's SMACA. It's a move in the right direction, that is to say liberty, as it relates to freedom of speech. SMACA, I just want to get a little more information on that. The Social Media Anti-Censorship Act. So just try hashtag SMACA or go to @MaPrivateCo on Twitter. That's Private Company, and they actually post a lot about SMACA, which is sort of a proto-Internet Bill of Rights. It has some of the ideas contained in a likely bill that would keep the internet free and open and neutral as much as possible. So that's one form of action that has been taken. There's been some writing done about that.